happy with the correct amount.
That was Apocalyptic Havoc by Goatwhore from their new album, Carving Out the Eyes of God. Goatwhore is Hollywood Music TV Canada's featured artist for the month of June. They have officially launched the new improved MySpace page. Check them out at www.myspace.com/Goatwhore. Fans can order tickets for the upcoming tour and pre-order Carving Out the Eyes of God. Now, the band has personally signed and numbered 666 CD sleeves specifically for this pre-order, so get yours before they run out. To grab your copy now while supplies last, log on to www.districtlines.com/metalbladerecords/Goatwhore. Now you can log on to Goatwhore's main website at www.goatwhore.net. Fresh off a successful US tour and direct support to label mates Eamon and Marth, Goatwhore will team up with Abigail Williams this summer for a Conquer and Curse Tour 2009, which will cover over 60 dates throughout North America. Joining this tour will be Death, Abysmal, Dawn, and Success will write Apocalypse Across the Sky. From there, the band will embark on another U.S. jaunt with Obituary through the fall. Hi, DJ Tina here, host of HMTV Canada E-Zine. With me today is a very honored guest, Ben Fulgust, vocalist of Goatwhore. Hi Ben, congratulations on your new album, Carving Out the Eyes of God, which will be released through Metal Blade Records on June 23rd. How was your North American tour? Are you including song tracks from Carving Out the Eyes of God in your playlist while on this tour? Will the fans be able to see any live video coverage of this tour, like behind-the-scenes footage or crazy roadside insanities while traveling to your next gig?
Okay, as far as the set goes, we will probably be playing, most definitely be playing 6 new songs from the record, maybe more, and then, some various other ones from our other records as well, so we can make some of the older fans happy. And as far as video stuff, I don't know. We might be filming some things and then maybe do a DVD later on down the line somewhere. We never know. It's always up in the air. We always got little weird things going on. So,
are there still limited editions of Carving Out the Eyes of God, personally signed by the band, available to buy on pre-order?
Actually, I don't know. That's a good question. I really don't know. The label, I just know that I had the box, all the covers, and we sat here, and it took 2 days. We all signed everything. Then I took time, and we numbered all of them. So, yeah, they're all hand-signed and hand-numbered by us. So, it was pretty lengthy. But we did it. And I know I shipped the box back like a week and a half ago. So,
okay.
They did not inform me yet of, orders, whether there's still any available or not. I couldn't say.
Okay, so we can still order. That's good. That tells me a whole lot about that one. Let me make sure I grab my copy for sure. I dig how Carving Out the Eyes of God takes the listener on a journey of evil, carving the spiritual light out of man and consuming mankind on a path of mass doom, destruction, and death in the last days and the end times. What inspires or motivates the band to write lyrics about religion and the fate of mankind? Are they based on grimacing, greedy attitudes in our political structure or social economic issues? And do all the band members contribute to the writing of the songs?
Okay, let's see. I pretty much write majority of the lyrics. Sammy writes some stuff depending on parts and elements that are going on. Most of the time he writes the part that he sings unless he feels his style doesn't quite fit with what I have written already for a whole song. So then he asked me to work on things for him to sing. And we're not a religious band. I mean, listen, a political band by any means.
Okay.
We're not a religious band by any means either, but I do have a deep-rooted hatred towards organized religion and structure of it and everything it stands for and the hypocrisy it sprays everywhere. And I guess, too, in a sense, I would say we're not political, but like you said, like you start to see things, within media, television, and news and stuff. You see how mankind is across the world.
Right.
You get this kind of attitude over it, and basically wish upon possible destruction of all of it, in a sense. I mean, I'm not by no means am I like a seriously negative person at all. I mean, if you ask a lot of people that know me, they're just like, he's really positive and he's really nice and he does things and he's positive about what he wants to do in life. But you see things like this and you see people follow such an organized structure that through time has stolen ideas, redone ideas, and basically thieved and did whatever it could through mankind to be in the position that it is.
Right.
And to see people still follow it like they do in such herds and everything is just, it's almost disgusting.
Okay.
Now, I mean, I understand people sometimes need a comfort of what's going to happen to them in, quote-unquote, the afterlife or after they die, so they need something to look up to give them that hope for that. But I think as an individual, you have to be more concerned about what's going on now and what needs to happen rather than what's going to happen when you're dead.
Right.
And a lot of that reflects, within the lyrics, the hatred for organized religious structures. And even it'll bend from reference materials that I read about, within different cultures, different religions from past civilizations, and it'll reference into, fictitious ideas as well, and it'll kind of go back and forth. But, somebody will say, well, why would you think about something fictitious? But it's just like, well, majority of all those things that religions spawn out are pretty fictitious as well. So why can't I take from them and basically make puns of what they've preached and make my own fictitious angle as well?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So it's like, so what, you're going to reprimand me because I've decided to do this, but they've done it for thousands upon thousands of years, and they persecuted people over everything. It's a shame because the whole idea, too, is when you read, they always say, be good to man, be kind to your neighbor, all these things, and then they end up, they're the main cause for all the wars that have happened through time since the dawn of man. And they want to act like they're the best thing since a chocolate chip cookie.
What it boils down to, a lot of them fail to see that we're all equal, and we're all the same. We're all human.
No, that's the thing. It is. We're all the same, and that's the whole idea with like the whole carving out the eyes of God.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a pretty brutal and blunt title, it was made to be that way.
Okay.
And it made people to look at it and go, what would made you concept that? But it was things it was reading. It was like the idea of the whole Bible scheme says that God created the world in 6 days, and on the seventh day He rested. Well, these things I read stated that on the seventh day He didn't rest, but He was distraught and tired and everything from creating for 6 days, but He kept creating. And on the seventh day, because He was so tired and distraught, that He created everything evil, wicked, and vile in His distraughtness. And so therefore, everything evil, wicked, and vile has just as much establishment in everything so-called good and great involved. And that it is needed there to balance everything out. And also that if God did create that, then He's flawed. And that if man was created in the image of God, like they say, man is already flawed. So if He created him in the image of Himself, then He is flawed as well. To show that we are all equal, even as a God that you put on a pedestal or put higher in your head somewhere, is just as equal as you, because He has flaws and He makes mistakes. And we all make mistakes. And to sit there and to point out people and put them in position and act like no one makes a mistake is just absurd.
Yeah, I agree. I noticed that the sound is more ferocious and powerful and explosive. Was there any challenges in laying the song tracks down to carving out the eyes of God or in the recording process? And did the band have any help with the mixing and the mastering of this album?
Oh, yeah, we always have help with that. We always do. We always like to be involved with, for the most part. And we really wanted, before we even went in, our main goal was to have more guitars in the mix. More guitars up front, more like the chainsaw guitars coming out of the speaker, just totally ripping through. Not to the point to where it's overwhelming guitars and then you're trying to fight to hear the drums and the vocals and everything, because it's not like that. Hear everything else fine, but the guitar always feel like the guitars will bury everything. And I think if you're a producer and you go out of your way and you make it happen, that just puts you one step and one peg above all these other producers that are scared to make that step. And I think with the record, because we did push Rutan so much to that edge, he took that step as a producer and brought it to that realm where you can, and showed that you can put guitars in there and still hear everything else.
It sounds awesome, especially in a 5.1 surround sound environment.
Oh, damn, 5.1, check you out.
It's awesome. You can hear, the windows are vibrating. It's just, when I'm listening to this, I'll turn it up loud, and I'm like, wow. Just the experience coming from the speakers is just awesome. And
it's made to turn up, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's definitely not a record. Like, when we were doing it, too, and he's listening to it low, it's like, because they do that in the studio sometimes, they put it low to hear what it sounds like. And I was like, all right, check it out. If you can put it low, but you can't really hear the guitars well, that means the guitars need to come up.
Right. It's better in the high-definition speakers. It sounds way better.
Yeah. And then I was like, all right, now turn it all the way up. He goes, that's loud. And I was like, yeah, but you got to understand, people that listen to metal sit at home, and they turn this shit up, and it's got to sound good when you crank it as well.
Exactly. It's got to make your windows vibrate.
Yeah, exactly, man. So it was, it's definitely something we wanted because it's how we like it, And as far as a live band, too, it's like the sound that projects when we play is like that. It's crushing, and the guitars are fucking ripping through.
That's awesome.
I try to take that away from the live band because then you're not representing yourself well on a CD.
Yeah, I've seen your videos, and I got the same effect from the videos as well when I heard the music.
Cool. So we're doing our job.
Oh,
right?
man, seeing the videos live, I'd love to see Goatwhore in concert for sure, because seeing the videos live, you get the same experience, and you get the same sound.
Where do you live at?
60 minutes from Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah, so an hour's drive away from the Toronto area.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which isn't too bad.
Cool, and you've never seen Goatwhore yet? We played Toronto numerous times.
Not yet.
Oh, man, you're coming out this time, right?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
For sure, I can't miss that.
Oh, yeah.
Will Goatwhore be producing any music videos from Carving Out the Eyes of God soundtracks?
Yes, we will.
Awesome.
We're actually, during this tour, I think it's when we play probably about a week into the tour, we play Baltimore, and we're going to do a video for Apocalyptic Havoc.
Do the band members share the same influences for their music, and do they like to experiment and try new things with their sound?
We pretty much have a lot of similar influences. I mean, we have other things, too, that certain members like that other members don't like, I mean, everybody's got their own taste, but as far as the bulk and everything that Goatwhore is built on, we're pretty much all in the same page with that. And, if there's something that, a member doesn't like, we just listen to it ourselves on our own headphones or something like that. So the other member doesn't get too aggro with it or anything. But it's pretty, usually like if we're in the van and we're jamming out with it in the stereo in the van, something everybody mutually digs. And then if everybody's in each of their seats and they're just listening to the headphones, it's something that maybe not necessarily wants everybody to hear right now.
Is the band concentrating on the tour for the remainder of the year, or are they in the process of writing new material?
Well, yeah, I'd say the most of it is the touring. Okay. The new record coming out, and I'm sure we're going to be touring a lot between now to the end of the year and probably a lot of next year as well. But as far as writing goes, the writing structure is always kind of there. Like Sammy's always coming up with parts, and he's recording them down to a tape or something like that, or recording them down to a computer or on a 4-track. I'm always coming up with different ideas for lyrics, and I jot them down in a little notebook on a little napkin somewhere. If we're in a bar or something, I'm writing it down somewhere, or just a piece of paper somewhere on the computer. So there's always like a continuous little writing, but we don't really get into like the heart of the writing until we're like home for a while.
Oh, okay.
And we're kind of away from the road and everything, and then we sit down and we start putting all the little pieces together. Like it's like a big puzzle, and then trying to sift through and find all the right elements that we need to do that, that we're pleased with to make up a song. We can take, like with the writing structure for a whole Carving Out the Eyes of God record, we had songs where we completed them in one day, but then we had songs that we tore apart several times and took a couple of weeks to do.
Wow.
Depending on, we didn't like how structures went. Things weren't turning out right. Tear it apart, put them back together a different way, add different parts to it. It didn't sound good. Put it off to the side, start a new song, come back to it later, come back to it, tear it apart again. Maybe parts that, we tore apart several times, then we never did even ever. So it all takes a certain amount of time. Like I said, sometimes it just flows right off, and sometimes it takes a little bit, and we find elements where we seem like we're in a block and trying to force something, we just say, all right, we're leaving the practice room now, and we'll just come back tomorrow night fresh and start from there. Because we've gotten to situations where we sat there for 6 hours and ripped something apart over and over, and it just didn't go anywhere. Instead of wasting time and knowing that, we just step away from it now and just come back to it fresh.
When it comes to the touring, which music venue or tour comes to mind as being one of the band's favorites or most memorable, and why?
Say, there's several, actually, man. It's like Celtic Frost, for one. That's the main one. I mean, that's our main influence, so that always comes into perspective in the van playing. Judas Priest, all early Judas Priest records, all early Iron Maiden records, Motorhead records, AC/DC records. Those are like the main, like, driving records, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The van constantly on the move. Those are like the records that do the trick.
Okay, before we wrap up our interview, do you have any shout-outs to fans or friends?
Fans and friends. I mean, let's see. Friends, they're cool with us, you know. They like to come hang out and party and everything like that. But no, I mean, overall, just like, check out the record if you have a chance. If you don't like it, no big deal.
I like it.
No, I'm just saying. If you don't like it, pass it on to somebody that might like it. If you don't like it and you want to say something, don't waste your time telling us, because we really don't care. And if you do happen to just download it, you know, and do the pirate thing from the internet, like some people do.
Oh my God.
The thing with the whole downloading thing is, like, I mean, it's inevitable. It's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm not going to sit here and whine and be these bands that go, stop downloading, it's hurting the bands. The thing I'll say is, if you downloaded it and you didn't buy it, and you do like the band and you come to the show, at least buy a shirt or something.
And the CD.
And the CD, unless you really don't want to buy the CD. I'm just saying, because you know how some people are.
Yeah.
Even though they come to the show and the band is still as good as they liked from the thing they ripped off and they don't want the CD, at least buy a shirt.
Okay.
You know, and don't be afraid to come talk to us. We're really good guys. We like to hang out. A lot of them like to drink and do some crazy shit. So talk to everybody. And we're not like one of these bands that's like, well, we don't have a bus, that's for sure. We have a van with a trailer.
What's some of the craziest things you've ever done, like after the show's been over, with partying with the bands?
Oh, Jesus, I can't answer that. If I answer it, it can't be an interview. I just have to tell you personally.
Okay, I want to thank Ben from Goatwhore and Metal Blade Records for this interview, and Ben, horns high, you rock.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate your time, and hopefully I'll see you real soon.